Let us learn now about what is this emotional and social adjustment. What are the different things that we need to know about them? Yes, about this topic. So, the teacher's role in nurturing holistic well-being, the overall well-being. When we talk about holistic, it's not only emotional, it's also physical. So, teachers impact learning beyond academics by supporting emotional and social health, right? So, teachers' role is not just limited to teaching the subjects that they are in charge of, right? So, teachers also have an impact on students, on their emotional and social health. They can have an impact by supporting the learners, right? How can they support the learners? They can create safe classroom environment for learners, right? And one more thing is a teacher can be identifies student challenges early. Teachers are the one that spend a lot of time with students in the classroom, and as you spend time with students in the classroom, you can easily identify some variation in behavior, or how they interact, or how they participate in the classroom. And those are the early signs to identify and talk to this child and try to know what is the issue, right? So what RICE is expecting from you all here, the questions will be based on empathy and understanding of child psychology. So moving on to the next one, we all know that there are different stages. Let us talk about emotions on the stage. We talked about the cognitive aspect of this stage. Let us now understand the stages of emotional growth. So in infancy, it is basic emotional and attachment development, right? So when you talk about infancy, it's more of attachment. The children will not come to others very quickly. They'll always be hung on to their mother, right? It's attachment and basic emotions. They cry, they laugh. On these basic emotions, you can consider something that you can observe in infants. When we talk about early childhood stage, they start becoming self-aware. They start noticing, okay, how do I look? Right? You might have seen small children, very small children, like 3 years, 4 years. If you say that your dress is not looking good, they start crying, right? And they are very self-aware about how they look, or how are things around them, all those things. And early emotional regulation takes place. Anger, laughter, right? All these emotions you'll be able to see. Fear, all this development and regulation of this early emotion starts at early childhood stage. In middle childhood stage, the understanding others and building self-esteem starts. Students try to understand others. They try to empathize what they might be feeling, what might be their issue, right? How do they behave? What is their attitude? What are their perspectives towards others? All those things. And self-esteem is also starts developing among learners. And in adolescent stage, it's intense emotions and identity formation. As we all know, there is a lot of hormonal changes going on in your body. You're trying to figure out who you are, what do you want, and it's not always easy. Adolescence is the stage when we are very furious. We either cry sometime, or we either fight sometime, or we are fully angry, or we are overly sad. And this is something which we all have come across in the adolescent stage, where intense emotions are there, and we are trying to figure out, we are trying to form our identity. So these are the different stages of emotional growth. Any explanation you want here, or shall we move on to the next one? Okay, I'll take the silence as an yes. Okay, so building connections from self to society. So there are different, based on different stages, we develop different things. For example, from early childhood, from parallel to cooperative play, right? At early childhood, usually in the earlier stages, a child is single. Usually they are always alone, either with their mother or with their parents. They are not with the same age group people. But slowly, as they start coming to the early childhood stage, from infancy stage, when they're coming to early childhood stage, they start participating in cooperative play. You might have heard children play ghar ghar, right? They play ghar ghar, mane mane in Kannada they say, right? In illu illu in Telugu. What ghar ghar is home. They play home. They buy a small set, or even if there is no set, they'll take leaves and they'll say like, this is stove, this is gas, this is the utensil, and all those things. You might have seen children playing, and you might have also played in your childhood stage, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So cooperative learning, if 2, 3 children will sit together and they'll assign roles. They'll play family. They'll say, you are father, you are mother, I am child. right? I'm son. So they start playing this gargar also, like they take up roles of adults and they start. So learning, sharing, turn taking is something that starts at early childhood. When you look at small children, they are not so easy, so patient. They'll not wait for the turn. They want everything to be given to them quickly because that's how they are brought up at their homes. So when they enter into a school setup, right, they should learn how to take turns, how to wait for their turn to come. So all these things are developed in early childhood stage. Then middle childhood stage is where we see strong peer groups, social rules, friendships, belongings, all these things develop in childhood stage. You will have a group of friends, and most of the time it is like a close group. And your friends will not be happy if you're talking to someone else. They're saying that you are my friend, right? Why are you talking to that other person? So strong peer groups are there. Then social rules. We start understanding what is good, what should be taught, what should is correct to speak, what are bad words, what are good words, what are manners, right? All these things start. Children start understanding at middle childhood stage. Then friendships is something that they start developing, and belonging with respect to their personal items. So this is mine, this is mine, this belongs to me. They start understanding their family setup also. These are my relatives, this is my grandmother, grandfather, cousins, and all those things. So they start learning, forming strong peer groups. Social rules understanding is something that takes place at this stage. They start forming friends, and they start understanding the belonging. That is middle childhood stage. Then comes adolescence. We have talked a lot about adolescence. Identity in social groups. Among social groups, they try to understand what is my role, what is my identity. They start understanding the social hierarchy. Who is on top at home? Who is on top? Who is second? Who is third? In society, in a particular institution, who is at top? Who has more power? Who has less power? Who has what freedom? All those things. And in adolescence stage is the one where we start exploring romantic relationships, right? I know that most of you might just turn a blind eye to this if I say that in schools there is nothing like this exists. All of you know that romantic relationships is something that starts with school. But agreed that at this stage we're still figuring out. We are still trying to figure out, we're trying to understand what it is. But infatuation is something that is starting at adolescent stage. Your secondary sexual characters are developing and your hormones are already on the play. So most of the children get into relationships. They are not technically relationships, but though they might be, they might not be, but this is something that where they start exploring relationships, adolescent stage. And then comes socialization age, where you start thinking about your family, your peers, school. No, no, sorry, socializing agents. So what are the different socializing agents? Family. Family is a place where you socialize, you talk to your parents, you talk to your siblings, your cousins, your grandparents, all those things. Peer is a group where you socialize a lot. You hang out with them, you talk about different topics, you talk about different friends. Sometimes you share tea among each other. I'm not talking about the tea that you drink. I'm talking about the tea that means gossip. And then a lot of things happen between peer groups. And then school. School is a place where you meet a lot of friends. School is a place where you do a lot of interaction happens. So school is also a socializing place. And then media influence. At the present context, social media is a very big platform that influences children a lot. And you socialize a lot on social media now in comparison to physical interaction. You're more active on Instagram or WhatsApp and Facebook or other platform like Snapchat that you use, where you interact a lot, where you socialize a lot with people. There are groups, there are individual friends that you should talk to. So these are the different socializing agents that are exist. Clear? Any doubt with respect to this slide? Your next class is set up at a particular time, right? We have to finish before that. Okay, I hope there is no doubt. Moving on to the next one, cultivating EQ and SQ. What is EQ and SQ here? Can anyone help me out?
Emotional quotient and social quotient.
Yes, correct. Correct, Pariksha. Thank you. So, cultivating your emotional quotient and social quotient through teaching. So, how will you help students cultivate emotional quotient and social quotient through teaching? First thing is positive classroom and climate. As a teacher, you should ensure that you develop and nurture, not only develop, after developing, you should nurture this positive classroom climate. What is positive classroom climate? All the students should feel safe in the classroom. right? There should be no bullying. There should be no other issues that are usually exist. So those things should not be there in the classroom. Then respectful. All the students should be respectful to each other. Students should be respectful to the teachers. Teachers should also be respectful to the students. Then inclusivity or inclusive, all the students being given equal opportunity, equitable opportunity. Then a predictable environment. The timetable should be something that students should know. Students should know what they're going to learn, how they're going to learn, what is the pattern in which a particular thing happens. Because if every day you're completely changing something, then it becomes difficult for students to follow. So the environment, the learning style, the learning environment should be a little bit predictable. They should know how the pattern flows, how it happens, what should they do. Then the second one is social emotional learning, right? Teaching students about self-awareness, management of your emotions, then management of relationship skills. Relationship skills means your friends, your parents, right? So social emotional learning is also something that you can teach to students, and this can be imbibed in the concepts that you teach. Then cooperative learning. So cooperative learning is also one good space to cultivate social emotional quotient and social quotient among learners, where they work on a group, they discuss ideas, they themselves distribute tasks, they distribute responsibilities, then they teach each other, peer tutoring happens, and they build the project through collaboration. The project or the group work, let it be a presentation, a seminar, right? Through collaboration, which is very important. Then role playing and discussion. So engaging students in role playing activities, in discussions on different topics, very important topics, very concurrent topics, is something where students start exploring their skills. They start listening to others' views and perspectives. So practicing social skills and exploring emotions is also something that can cultivate social quotient and emotional quotient through teaching among learners. Then moving on to the next one, let us understand the science behind learning and teaching. So when we talk about the definitions, the study of learning, teaching, and school social psychology. Yes? Does someone has anything to say here? Yes? Priyanka, you want to say something? Yes, Priyanka. Was it a mistake? Okay, I'll consider. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the break. Yes. So, socio-emotional learning we were discussing about, right? So, explicitly teaching them self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship, and all skills and all those things. Then cooperative learning also we discussed, role play and discussion. Then one more thing is positive reinforcement, acknowledging and praising. I think I've come to the next slide also, right? Yeah, the science behind teaching and learning. I'm really sorry. Yes. So, the stats here we are talking about the scientific study of how humans learn in educational settings. A teacher should know how humans learn in an education setting, the effectiveness of educational intervention, the strategies that you teach, the lesson plans that you prepare, right? And you should know the psychology of teaching, which we discussed in the previous, the before this session, right? The social psychology of schools, how are schools, how, that school as a social structure influences the learning among child is something that you should know. So there are multiple key areas here. There is child development. We have all learned about the developmental theories. Learning theories, we have learned them also. Motivation, assessment, classroom management, and individual differences. Now, why does it matter? So providing evidence-based strategies for effective teaching is going to help you as a teacher. So as a teacher, you should know evidence-based strategies. The strategies that have been proven to work will be beneficial for you. Okay. So, yes. Vasudha Rani, you have to say something. Okay, it's a mistake. So let us discuss about data-driven and child-centered practices. That is teachers' attitude towards educational learning, educational psychology. One thing is a teacher should have openness to research, a willingness to learn from psychological studies and findings. As a teacher, you should not only read about the content and update yourself about the content, but you should also look into what is happening in the field of child psychology. What does the study say? What are the recent developments? What are the changes and modifications that are being made? Then reflective practice, right? A teacher should effectively reflect and analyze to improve their teaching. Empathy and understanding, right? So trying to understand students from their perspective. So here they are using the word psychology and all. Please don't worry about that. Understanding student behavior and needs from their perspective. Then having a growth mindset, believing in the potential of all learners, right? Even if those learners who are facing challenges, who have hurdles in front of them, even believing that all kinds of learners are able to, face these challenges. And as a teacher, you should be confident enough that you will be able to provide learning experiences and help students achieve their goal. And as a teacher, this becomes your professional responsibility. Recognizing that effective teaching requires understanding how students learn and develop is very important for you as a teacher. Moving on to the next slide. Yes, move the chat box. So how well-being fuels achievement? We are learning about this thing. Let us understand how well-being fuels or influences the learning. So engagement. Emotionally regulated students show higher engagement. Studies have find out that students who are able to effectively manage their emotions, they're able to understand and know what they are feeling at present, what are their feelings, what is their emotional state, and if they're able to regulate their emotional state. For example, if they're suddenly getting angry, they're able to identify why are they getting angry and how is the anger benefiting the situation, and they're able to control their anger. Such students who are emotionally regulated, who are able to regulate their emotions, show higher engagement in learning. Then, cognitive function. As we all know, anxiety and stress impair memory and attention. When you are too stressed, when you are too anxious, you will not be able to remember. You will not be able to pay attention in classroom also. How many of you have felt this? That when you're going to write a particular exam, let it be an entrance exam or your board exams or your classroom examinations, the time you are very stressed, when you're in too much tension, you have a difficulty in recalling concepts, right answers. Have you experienced that before?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So anxiety and stress can impair memory. It'll make it difficult for you to recall concepts. So it's very important for you to also make students understand that when we are going to write exams and when they are attending something or in the class, they should always be calm, they should always be composed and not stressed. Even in classrooms, we have seen that there are some teachers who are very strict. And when we are sitting in such teachers' classroom whom we are very much scared of because of the stress and anxiety, sometimes we are not able to focus or we are not able to answer the question even because we'll not be able to hear the question properly or some such things happen. So that is about cognitive function. Then classroom behavior. So if the classroom environment is not good, and there is poor adjustment among students, it can cause disruptive behavior. Disruptive behavior means students might fight among themselves, or there might be disagreements among students, and all this can be a problem. And peer relationship. Positive social skilling said collaborative learning. So there should be a strong peer relationship among learners, and that it should be of a nature of encouraging. It should be of encouraging in nature, and this will help students build strong relationships, make friends, and understand each other, and go together as a classroom. Moving on to the next one, let us discuss the practical tools for nurturing environment. Just give me 1 minute. I'm sorry. Sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us look into the practical tools for nurturing, for a nurturing environment. First thing is clear routines. right? You should provide a timetable and a routine should be set for learners. In most of the schools, what they do is this set a specific timetable. For example, if they're learning English in first hour, it will be English every day. Science second hour, science will be second hour every day. So providing a clear routine helps students to understand and predict what is the next thing that is going to next class that is going to happen, all those things, right? Then model regulation. As a teacher, you should always be calm and you should always show empathy. And students have a tendency to imitate what their teacher do. Not only teachers, that more time we spend with someone, we start, imitating them and adapting their characteristics. You might have heard your parents scolding that by being with that fellow, you have also started talking like him or her or behaving like him or her. Have you heard that?
Yes.
So the time we spend with a particular individual and how they interact, how they behave, and what is their nature has a strong impact on us, right? So when you are in the role of a teacher, when you are the one who is addressing a large group, you should always be calm. You should always show empathy. We should always listen carefully and show understanding. And this is something that is an expected behavior that is to be imbibed by the learners. Then conflict resolution. Teach peacemaking and mediation skills. It's very important for learners, especially at this stage, because there is a lot of conflict among learners, ranging from small trivial issues to big problems that they create for themselves. So, as a teacher, you should, discuss about how it is, why is it important to mend, right, and make peace, and how it is beneficial for everyone. Mediation skills is something that they will learn from teachers, and a teacher should encourage them. Peer support. Encourage buddy systems and group works. This buddy system is something where students are attached to each other. Attachments, they are made to sit each other, where one child will help or the other child in the area that they're good at, and vice versa happens. So that is buddy system. And a group work also, encouraging and involving students in group work is also a very good and practical tool for nurturing a healthy classroom environment. Then, identifying and responding to students' needs. Okay, what are the different strategies that you can take up to identify and respond to students' needs? The first thing is observation. As a teacher, you have to be also a very good observer, because when you're teaching in class, you're actively looking at your learners in the classroom. And by looking at the learners, you'll always be able to spot signs of distress, anxiety, aggression, right? Emotion. All those things are very easily observable. So you should not just observe and leave it. There might be some questions in RIE CEE where they'll say that you have observed that a child is not actively playing and paying attention to you in the class. As a teacher, what you should do? You should talk to the child. You should address the child. You should provide a safe environment where the child feels comfortable to talk to you, share their feelings with you. Okay. So you have to be a very good observer. The second thing is active listener. As a teacher, you should listen to the students first. Create safe space for sharing. Once you hear to a particular student, please don't go and talk about it in the classroom. Many teachers do that. When you go and share something with the teacher announces it in front of the classroom and makes it a fun of you, fun of the student, and that has a very big mental impact on the learner. So as a teacher, you should be active listener, where you should create safe spaces for children to share their problems, their queries or thoughts, whatever they're having. Okay. So active listening is also one of the method. Then intervention. Use de-escalation and quiet corners. If a student is having so much of emotional stress or something, you can make the students take some time for themselves. Or de-escalation means bringing the situation down. If two students are fighting or there is a tense environment there, de-escalating it, calming students down, making them take their own time, think over what they're doing, why they're doing, how will it impact them and others. All this intervention can be given. Then collaboration. Teachers can work with parents and also with specialists. Specialists, for example, counselors, therapists, and based on the needs of the learners, teacher can collaborate with the professionals that are available in the field. Okay. Moving on to the next one, leading by examples. Not only students, teachers' well-being also matters. So you should also be self-aware. You should know how your emotions influence how you speak, how you act, and how you participate in a particular process. So knowing your emotions as a teacher is very important, and you should also know that you should do not show biases. It's very easy to show biases and not know that I'm actually being biased, right? So know your emotions, be self-aware about your emotions and biases. Stress management. Teacher burnout is something that is very actively discussed. What is teacher burnout? There is so much work that a teacher does. Already you have so much stress of teaching classes. Other than classes, you are given a lot of administrative work, you're given other tasks, you have to take care of students, other paper correction, so many things comes. So a teacher is someone who might have a lot of stress. So it's very important for a teacher to practice these mindful techniques, right? And develop coping strategies, different coping strategies for the teaching demands that are there, for the educational setup demands that are there. So you should know how to manage your stress. Professional boundaries. This is the third time today we are discussing about professional boundaries. Maintaining healthy relationships among with your students, with your colleagues, and other people who are at the work. Then seeking support. Seeking support as a teacher is also very important, and you can use school resources and networks for that. So this is about that. So in today's class, we have discussed two major topics, and I hope this revision was helpful for all of you. If you have any doubt, please ask me.